everyone? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell, and welcome to the latest episode of my Is It Worth It series, where I dive into various games, sink my teeth in, and decide, was it really worth my time and money or not? And in the case of this week's game, the next one on the chopping block is Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which, holy shit, is an amazing game. Absolutely worth every moment of your time and money. We're going to dive into that in greater detail here in a bit. But before we do, I'd like to ask a favor. If you're new here, if this is the first time you've made your way this part of the internet, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you get updates for all the future content that I produce here. And of course, even if you don't like the video, feel free to leave a thumbs down. It all helps in the eyes of the algorithm. So don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know what you like or dislike about this game. And beyond that, if this is not your first time here, thank you so much for coming back around once again. Let's dive into Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. So, if you have been around my channel for any length of time, you know that I'm a huge fan of CRPGs. Last year, when Baldur's Gate 3 came into early access, I went back and replayed Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, and Icewind Dale. Having not played those games in a very long time. I also did a partial replay through of Pillars of Eternity 2, which I hadn't played in a few years. I didn't quite make it all the way through because I got sidetracked with other stuff, but CRPGs have been a big part of my life since as far back as I can remember. My favorite game to this day is still Baldur's Gate 2. I can replay that game every year and have done so quite frequently, and I've never gotten tired of it. It's such a great game. It holds up to this day. Even the original version, of course, they've redone it now with the enhanced editions. So when I first found out about the first game that Owlcat Studios did, um, which was Pathfinder Kingmaker, I'm gonna go over here and find out when was this released. Just very curious because it's been a while since I played that one. 2018 was that when that game came. So it's been a few years ago now. When the Kingmaker game released, I was like, this is really good. I really didn't like some of the time locked aspects of it and some of the kingdom management stuff, but um, I liked that game good enough so that when I heard that they were making a sequel to this, I got really excited. Now, I actually, for some reason or another, didn't know about the sequel until after the Kickstarter had already happened. So I didn't get in on Wrath of the Righteous at the Kickstarter stage. I came along much later in the pipeline. But be that as it may, the game has been out for like a couple weeks now, and I have been playing it almost every single day for a couple of hours, and I'm like sitting here going, honestly, I think this is up there now with Baldur's Gate 2, Dragon Age Origins, Pillars of Eternity 2. It's up there with one of the best CRPGs of all time in my mind. It does have its quirks, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as we dive into this video, so hopefully you stick around for the full length session. So first and foremost, I don't think I have ever seen a game that has a character creation process that is this in depth and involved. I literally was going through there. There's like 24 or more classes to choose from, and there's all sorts of like subclasses, and a lot of them are locked off in the beginning because you have to hit certain prerequisites. But it's really cool that they let you see, all of the options that you could work towards for your character. But I honestly felt overwhelmed, and that has never happened to me. This is the first time a game has presented me with so many options that I was overwhelmed with what to do. And I think it was PC Gamer did a review the other day where they talked about there's so much variety going on, and so much to be seen from all of these different classes and subclasses that by the time you get through playing the initial introduction to the game, you might find yourself re-rolling and playing another character through just to see how that character plays through in comparison to this one, and also because you get so many companions, and all of the companions can do lots of cool things, and there's so many features and feats that you can have with these subclasses that it's not nearly as narrow as it used to be. Because like going back to say Baldur's Gate 1, it was very defined what a fighter was, and it was very defined what a rogue was, a thief. This is what a wizard does, this is what a fighter does, this is what a paladin does, this is what a bard does. This game is not like that. This game, there are so many freaking options and things that you can do. There's a lot more flavor to all of the classes and subclasses. And I actually did what the PC Gamer article suggested some people might do. And I've never done this with the game before. Traditionally, I always play through my first playthrough. I always play through a rogue who is a traditional rogue who does lock picking, finding traps, so on and so forth, and usually dual wields daggers because I like that backstab damage. Um, when I did my first run through, I was like, cool, but Camellia can also open locks, so I don't really need a lock picker in my group. So I felt kind of like I had maybe made a mistake. So then I went back and decided I was like, screw it, I'm just going to go play through multiple things. And I played a druid through the intro, and then I played, and by the intro I mean, um, without spoiling anything, you go through a set of caverns, and the bottom sequence of let's call it, it's not really a temple, but let's call it a temple. And then you get done and you're dumped out into the city at large. And so that's like an hour and a half ish. It's like an hour and a half, depending on how you play, to go through that initial thing. And I went through with five. Five different before I settled on my Knife Master. And my Knife Master is a rogue subset that I decided I was going to go through, because it still gave me the two daggers that I wanted to do. But since I have a character in my party who's doing the lock picking and opening the locks and things of that nature, I didn't feel compelled to take that with my own character. So we're 7 minutes into this video, and all I've been talking about is like character creations. So let's actually talk about the gameplay. Um, the first level of this game is your traditional CRPG. You've got lots of dialogue choices, you've got lots of companions, you've got lots of flavor based on alignment. You've also got flavor based on the god or goddess or lack of a god or goddess that you choose. So my character is actually an atheist in this game. And there's a point earlier on in the game where a um, a demonic entity tries to sway my mind in a sequence of events. And because I'm an atheist and I don't believe in the gods or the power of the gods, they failed at their role against me. And I'm not affected by it. And I believe it was a succubus, and her eyes go wide, and it was this moment of like, wait a second, you're not being compelled by my powers. What's up with that? And it had nothing to do with anything else. It was literally just because I had chosen to be an atheist in the game, and that was the flavor that I got, and I was able to resist that particular sequence, which was really fun flavor for me. And then there's also, your traditional, like I said, alignment and class choice stuff. And you can go through the game, and there's a lot going on in the early hours of the game where it's just you off doing missions in the city, and I'm not spoiling anything here. You're dealing with what's going on. And when you get through that first chapter of the game, part one, act one, when you get to act two, you have been um, promoted to the knight commander of this army. Now, something else has happened along the way as well, which is you have taken your first steps to becoming a mythical hero. And part of this game is the progression that you have throughout the game. There is the progression of your character normally throughout your levels of your class or subclass. And then there's when you get into the mythical side of things, which starts off with a mythical hero, and then along the way, you have options to choose from where you can choose to basically transcend humanity and become this other thing, whether it's an angel or a demon or a trickster god or so on and so forth. But you can actually go on and become this other thing that is transcending humanity. And those levels are separate than what you're getting with your normal character, and you get additional options and dialogue and additional cool things that you can do, abilities and sub abilities. All your companions get abilities based on which one of those alignment based, and they are all aligned with your alignment. The angel being, true good, and then you've got a demon down here, but there's also, in betweens. And I haven't gotten through all of that yet, but it's a pretty unique system. Um, that's going on top of the adventuring that you're doing. You become the commander of this army, and suddenly on the map, now you're doing not just regularly adventuring, but you're also doing um, kind of like strategic warfare, where you have to have armies, and your armies need generals, and there's different types of generals, and you have to defeat demon armies that are blocking the pathway to things that your adventuring party needs to go to. So if you want to unlock certain sections of the map and get to those things, you have to take them out with your armies first. This is the one variant of this game where I have not fully enjoyed it. There is a lot of grind, I feel, when it comes to the armies, and I feel like it becomes it's really less about strategy than it is about basically just recruiting a whole bunch of footmen slash tank type characters and surrounding a bunch of archers in the corner, and then just basically just attacking the enemies until they die and just taking them out with sheer numbers. I find that to be less strategic and more just about that.
I
Other
don't
people
have the
might have
abilities,
different,
and I
you
didn't
know, get different
see
opinions, have different mileage from that.
their
I'm
capacity
not a
in that.
big fan of that part of this game so far, the army stuff. Now, as I understand it, and again, full disclosure here, I have not gotten really deep into this. I've read that it's got over 100 hours of gameplay, and I'm into it, but I'm not like deep into it. I'm probably 25, 30 hours in at this point. And I'm a completionist, so I'm off doing every single side quest I possibly can, everything else. But as I understand it, as you get deeper into the campaign, you get the ability to start building buildings and um, having that aspect of management of your resources, kind of like in Kingmaker, where you had to manage your kingdom and the resources there. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but that's in this game. So there's layers upon layers upon layers upon layers upon layers as you go through Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. And one of the things that has struck me immediately is that this is a game that I'm going to feel compelled to come back and play through again and again and again. Just like I did with like Baldur's Gate 2. And the reason for that being, remember how I talked about how there's so much diversity in your classes at the beginning, and also all of the flavor text that you're getting from encounters based on your alignment and the companions in your party and all of this other stuff. I've probably come up against 30 or 40 scenarios now where I've just been like, oh, I can't wait to come back and see what it's like if I played a ranger, or if I played a druid, or if I played a paladin, or if I played a mage. Um, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm just having more fun the deeper I get into this game. At the end of the day, if I had to give it a rating, I would give this a strong 9 out of 10. There are two reasons, really, that I don't give it a 10 out of 10. One, of course, is the aforementioned aspect that I don't really care for the battleground type stuff. I feel like it's a grind, and there's no way to, like in normal combat, when you're with your normal parties, you can just let the characters go, and they'll go off and, auto fight, right? When you're on the map, the battle map, there is no auto functionality. So you're sitting there, and I've tracked it. I've had fights where I've had to click the mouse button more than 150 times to get through an encounter on the battleground map, and I haven't even gotten into the really big battles yet. I find that to be incessantly grindy and annoying as all get out, and I wish there was an option to just be like, hit the space bar and let it auto attack. If there is and I missed it and I'm a complete idiot and noob, please somebody tell me in the comments below. But I really don't like that part of the game. I should say three things. The second thing is it's not fully voiced, and I really wished it was, because Pillars of Eternity 2 was fully voiced. And that's one of the things that I think made that game so amazing. And I know it's budget related, but still, it's like, fully voiced would have done so much better. The voice actors they do have for this game are incredibly talented, and the sequences that are voiced are really well done. I just wished it would be more. And there's a third thing, which is one of the things I really loved of like Dragon Age Origins, Baldur's Gate series, the Pillars of Eternity series, those games, is that you could actually configure the AI of your characters so that they would do things like cast a heal spell if someone in your party is getting low. And this game doesn't have that. Again, not that I've been able to find. If there is that aspect of the game and I'm a complete newbie, let me know in the comments below. But I loved that aspect because then I could set up my druid to play this way, and I could set up my paladin to play this way, and I could set up my, my mage to play this way, and I didn't have to be quite so micromanagey of my parties. Obviously, in this case, you could just let the party go do whatever they're gonna do, and they'll auto attack with whatever weapons they've got, but they won't use abilities unless you tell the character to use their abilities. So those three things, they're minor to me. Again, that's the only reason I wouldn't give this a 10 out of 10 are for those three things. Otherwise, this is a strong 9 out of 10 for me. Highly recommend this game. Go out and buy it. It's worth the full price. It is worth every hour you're going to spend painstakingly poring over what character you want to play, and 6 hours later finally realizing what you want to play. Um, it's very enjoyable. I hope nothing but the best of success for these guys, and I hope all of you go out there and pick this game up and start playing it today. Now that we've gotten to the end of this, let me know what you think about this game. Have you played it yet? What are you playing? Light side, dark side, good, bad, evil? How far have you gotten into it? What do you think about the battleground stuff? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like the video or dislike the video to let me know how you feel about this type of content. And of course, if you did like the video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, hit that bell icon so that you get updates for all the future content I do here on YouTube. And don't forget, you can join us over on Discord where we hang out and talk about other stuff like books, TV shows, and so on and so forth. And stick around because we got more fun stuff coming in the pipeline. Till next week, everybody, stay safe, and I hope that you have fun in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous.